Attention all XRP holders, buckle up, for the time you've all been waiting for is staring right at you. Experts are hailing this as a major development. Now, not next year, not at some unspecified point in the future. The last battle between bulls and bears will take place in the current quarter, leading into the fourth quarter of 2025. Anyone who has been keeping tabs on the charts, liquidity, institutions, and policy developments knows what's coming. The bulls have finally taken over the crypto market, and XRP is about to go to unprecedented heights as a result. Everything is lining up for the long-awaited breakout now that the stage has been set and the players have begun to move. Your money is not being advised by this. We will jump right into it now. In contrast to Bitcoin's price, which is above $116,000, XRP is remaining steady at 3.09 at the moment. Ethereum is making a strong return to its all-time high, while BNB has broken above the $920 mark. Just today, Dogecoin experienced an 8% rise, bringing it back up to 0.27 for the first time in months. Everything about the market is green, and that tells us just one thing. Typically, these cycles culminate with a euphoric blow-off peak, but we are still far from that point. The current situation is more akin to accumulation mixed with momentum, which is extremely detrimental for bears as it leads to greater highs, stronger breakouts, and more aggressive inflows. In case you're really interested in setting yourself up to discover the next big moves, I highly recommend checking out the Ultimate Millionaire Investor Guide, Find 100 Times Stocks, which is posted to the comment section below this video. The information is presented in an easy-to-understand format and is rich with photographs, videos, documents, and more. There you will find the information you need to gain a head start in the market for the next phase. Finally, XRP. This has been dubbed the inevitable setup by analysts. It's no more a question of if, but when, we will see XRP exchange-traded fund applications. The approval of Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs in 2024 established the clear precedent, according to Mason Varoulis and other market professionals. Those establishments have bigger plans. One of the most compelling institutional arguments for XRP exists, and its demand and liquidity are both on the rise. As soon as the ETFs get the go-ahead, XRP's liquidity profile alters dramatically. Let me tell you something, though. The breakout has officially started. As you can see from the charts, XRP has formally emerged from its consolidation phase. For months, price action remained trapped in that constricting channel, which became increasingly congested. The compression, however, sets the stage for expansion, as it does in every cycle. The fact that XRP has emerged from the wedge and is currently creating a new positive trend line is already being noted by CW and other chart watchers. Predictions made by them, a successful break above 4.40 would establish a new record high. After that, the community will be aware that exponential growth is occurring once momentum takes control. Because of this, you must pay attention to the current state of trading volume. Over the past day alone, XRP's trading volume surpassed $5.7 billion. Don't call it retail. Retail cannot move that much money that fast. Big players, including institutions and whales, are positioning their cash ahead of what they anticipate. This very same scenario has occurred previously throughout history. The smart money always gets in early, volume increases, breakouts, and retail swoops in at greater levels just before a large parabolic leg. Experts are warning XRP holders to brace themselves for this very reason. At this moment, there is no discernible trend in either greed or fear. I am astounded. Reason being, XRP wasn't even close to this powerful when we saw severe greed in late 2024, during Bitcoin's initial surge above 100,000. Nevertheless, we managed to reach that level of excessive avarice. Despite today's improved XRP price, increased liquidity, ETF activity, and institutional investment, market sentiment remains unchanged. That means there is still a very long way to go until the market gets too hot. Since we're in the neutral zone today, tomorrow we can talk runway. Also, consider this in the context of historical situations. In November 2024, just following Donald Trump's election, Bitcoin surged beyond 100,000 for the first time. It was deemed the pinnacle by all. Still, the Fed went hawkish and pulled the rug out from under us with rate policy after giving us a taste of tremendous greed for barely a month. Now, in the present day, the situation is reversed. After a long period of neutrality, Jerome Powell has taken a dovish stance. Global liquidity is at record highs. inflation is under control, and institutions are pleading for clarity to increase their crypto holdings. That's a bullish market. In such a setting, assets like XRP can achieve prices that were previously unimaginable. The placement must also be considered. An all-time high has already been achieved by Bitcoin. The price of Ethereum has returned to its all-time high, and XRP currently positioned almost 20% lower. After that gap closes, liquidity will flow into XRP, driving its price upward. Keep in mind that XRP has the third largest market valuation of any cryptocurrency, the most ardent community behind it, and one of the greatest stories about its worldwide use cases. Bitcoin maximalists can shout decentralization from the rooftops, but XRP has staked its claim to the future's institutional railroads, which means its potential multiple from here is significantly higher than that of BTC or ETH for sure. So now what are we left with? No brainer. In the near future, analysts expect XRP to break $440, but their long-term predictions are somewhat more ambitious. Near $20 per coin if XRP's market cap reaches $500 billion or even $1 trillion before the end of the year. Those are not just random figures. They take into account liquidity flows, the possibility of exchange-traded funds, institutional adoption, and trends of past cycles. It all becomes crystal clear when you step back. We consistently fail to anticipate the potential value of these assets. We have doubts about the math every cycle. Reality consistently outstrips expectations with each cycle. But compared to 2017 and 2021 this time around, the setup is second to none. Thanks to our institutional custody solutions from industry leaders like BlackRock, Fidelity, and iTrust Capital, big players can now allocate with ease. We have money pouring all over the world. The Federal Reserve has taken a dovish stance. Various exchange-traded funds are scheduled to be drafted. As a matter of paramount importance, price action is currently breaking out, not at some point in the future. Something crucial becomes apparent when one steps back and examines the market as a whole. Today, XRP is in the same boat that Bitcoin was in 2017 and again in 2021, just before the price broke through the $20,000 mark. These occurrences are not random. The patterns in market movement are cyclical and reoccur due to the fact that market participants' psyche remains constant. At the moment, XRP is drawing energy, coiling up and ripping hard when it rips. Because once momentum starts, there isn't much time to react. Seasoned analysts are warning XRP holders to buckle in. Anyone sitting on the sidelines will be left behind by the next violent move. There is no denying the data. A plethora of bullish indicators, including relative strength indexes, moving averages, and MACD, are accompanied by increasing volume and a deluge of new liquidity. And this is occurring well before the retail frenzy begins. New regulatory clarity is provided or ETF confirmations are made. If this is the state of XRP just before the frenzy, just wait when the frenzy hits. On the basis of the calculations alone, exponential growth is not only feasible but quite likely. Also, many people overlook this. When it comes to past cycles, XRP has always been last to act. The order of execution is as follows. Bitcoin goes live first. Ethereum follows suit, and last XRP gets up and makes the biggest moves as quickly as possible. That trend keeps happening. Ethereum is closing in on a record high, Bitcoin has surpassed $116,000, and XRP is far behind. But being behind doesn't make you weak. Being behind the curve in cryptocurrency means you're preparing for a massive comeback. When XRP accomplishes this, the price doesn't fluctuate by little amounts. Multiples of it move. At this same moment, consider the mentality of investors. Many of them are wondering if they were too late when Bitcoin hit $116,000 and are now regretting it. They're watching Ethereum play about with its highs and trying to figure out if it has any more juice. In what direction does that money turn? Into the asset's market cap that is still below its competitors. That's XRP. It's well known, it's liquid, and everything is in place. Institutions and traders alike should put their money into XRP because it has the potential to increase in value by a factor of 2, 3, or even 4 from its present price. This explains why the daily volume is already fetching billions. We may now move on from ETFs and institutional adoption to other potential triggers. There hasn't been a more positive macro situation for decades. You can't put a price on the Federal Reserve's new dovish stance. A mere 25 basis point reduction in interest rates opens the floodgates for risk-on assets. In risk-on circumstances, crypto and XRP in particular flourish. When you factor in that global liquidity is at an all-time high, you have a rocket ship that is primed for takeoff. Somehow, capital is being allocated, and it's not all ending up in the conventional stock market. Cryptocurrency provides the asymmetric returns that investors crave. On a technical level, it is supported. Please observe the weekly graphs. Just now, XRP has surpassed important moving averages that it hasn't done so in months. It wasn't a coincidence. The breakthrough from consolidation was genuine. The road to $4.40 will be clear after the weekly closing confirms over 3.09 and maintains momentum. There is a marked decrease in resistance levels after that. Because of this, analysts aren't bashful about predicting $8, $12, or even $20 during this price cycle. They aren't taking chances. The charts, flows, and macro setup are being read by them. The robustness of the XRP community is another aspect that is underappreciated. Once again, this token has a tiny following. In the cryptocurrency industry, XRP boasts one of the most robust and outspoken communities. That is significant. Solid communities are able to stave off panic buying when markets are volatile. By doing so, they inspire faith. They make a good trend even better. Also, people from outside the group notice their power and want to join. One of XRP's hidden strengths is its community effect. Additionally, it will reappear during this run. Public and private organizations also notice it. Consider options for custody. It was no accident that BlackRock and Fidelity launched crypto custody services. Premium custody accounts were not created by iTrust Capital for nothing. The demand is there, and these businesses recognize XRP as a key asset that investors desire for safekeeping. The resources of institutions are not frittered away on assets in which they have little faith. Constructing this infrastructure demonstrates trust. Investors' faith translates into a windfall of billions of dollars once exchange-traded funds, ETFs, go online. Here's an additional factor to think about. The value of XRP extends beyond that of a speculative asset. Cross-border payments, liquidity solutions, and efficient settlement are some of its intended uses. Worldwide, banks and other financial organizations are already testing it out. This coin is not a fad that will soon be forgotten. In a market worth several trillion dollars, this asset has a valid application. The utility story provides further evidence in favor of sustained expansion. By serving as a settlement mechanism, XRP further establishes itself as more than simply a medium of exchange. A tool, that is, and there will always be tools that can tackle major problems. They climb. A more holistic approach to market psychology is also required. The market is surprised by certain assets every cycle. Ethereum was the one in 2017. It was Solana in the year 2021. For the time being, it appears like XRP will be the asset that causes a shockwave. Why? Because its fundamentals are solid, it has huge potential catalysts, and it has the ideal combination of underperformance. There is no denying the setup. The best narrative is now available for XRP, and traders adore them. Breakout charts, institutional uptake, future ETF approval, and clear regulations. That's the kind of story that Wall Street can pitch to their clients. The gates will be opened wide once they do. Liquidity rotation should also be considered. During bull markets, investors' money flows ebb and flow between various assets. The altcoin fever follows Bitcoin and Ethereum, then majors like XRP. Both the first and second stages are already visible. Starting with Bitcoin, Ethereum moved on to XRP. For that reason, market watchers are certain that a breakout is on the horizon. XRP isn't the only thing at stake. The complete cyclic rhythm is at play here, and XRP is at the center of it. We must not forget the geopolitical dimension either. The usage of digital assets is gaining momentum globally. More and more, the importance of efficient cross-border payments is growing, and central banks are exploring CBDCs. Meanwhile, financial institutions are incorporating blockchain rails. XRP is located where all of those things come together. That's its whole purpose, to address such issues. In the event that institutions and governments are compelled to embrace more advanced technologies, XRP will be ready and waiting. This provides it a competitive advantage over all other cryptocurrency assets. In the near future, then, what does this mean? According to experts, Ford 40 is the primary objective. If that happens, it will be the definitive beginning of a new all-time high. However, it is not all. It is price discovery's turn to reign after momentum has built. The floor is slashed in price discovery. Predictions ranging from $8 to $20 are reasonable and may even be conservative because of this. Even the most optimistic predictions could be wrong about XRP, as its worth approaches $1 trillion. Remember where we came from if you think it sounds too harsh. Throughout each prior cycle, assets have pulled off seemingly impossible feats. This year, the price of Bitcoin jumped from $1,000 to $20,000. The price of Ethereum will rise from $80 to $4,800 in the year 2021. Solana went up from $1 to more than $250 in a single year. In this cycle, XRP is positioned to be that tail. It's an ideal contender. Bring that together with the macro image now. The case becomes quite convincing after rate reduction, dovish policies, record levels of global liquidity, and demand from institutions. This is not unsubstantiated conjecture. Even though all the big indicators are pointing to a breakout, this is still pure guesswork. For that reason, experts can't stop stressing the same thing. Hold on tight, XRP holders. Do not be the one to witness the rocket's departure without you once it takes off. Plus, what's even better? In terms of mood, it is still early. Retail hasn't even come yet, according to the Neutral Fear and Greed Index. The retail phase marks the beginning of the parabolic phase. As of right now, accumulation, smart money, and whales setting up are still the norm. Prices tend to go above everyone's expectations when there is a surge in retail activity. At that point, the headlines shift from pessimism to excitement. This is nothing new. We've seen it previously. Markets in general tend to go farther than most people anticipate. In each and every cycle, investors establish mental boundaries. They predict that Bitcoin will stall at $10,000 before ripping to $20,000. Ethereum smashes to $4,800 despite their claims that it can't go above $1,000. A lot of people are claiming that XRP can't go over $5, $8, or $10 this cycle. Those ceilings, however, are fictitious. The process of price discovery knows no bounds. The sole constraints are demand and liquidity. These two things are going to blow up for XRP. The demand picture is looking better than it ever has before right now. Institutions are enthusiastic, not merely curious. There is a genuine need for XRP now that custody solutions are available. Exchange-traded funds are waiting for approval, and banks are talking publicly about blockchain settlement rails. The retail sector is still in its slumber, but as soon as it does, it will only serve to fan the flames of the crisis. What causes parabolic moves is the exact blend of institutional foundations and retail hysteria. Liquidity, on a worldwide scale, is also at record highs. No, central banks are loosening their monetary policies. The Federal Reserve has decided to lower interest rates. Loans are inexpensive, and asymmetric bets are what investors crave. The stock market is no longer capable of producing such enormous profits. Sure, bonds can't. Only in the cryptocurrency market are 5x, 10x, and 20x moves still possible. Plus, XRP has established itself as a crypto asset that can produce such multiples. It is supported by the charts. The weekly momentum is now trending upwards. RSI is on the rise, but it has not yet reached overbought territory. A trend reversal has been confirmed as MACD has entered positive territory. Instead of acting as resistance, moving averages now serve as support. Demand is skyrocketing. These do not indicate that you are tired. There is evidence of ignition here. All the traders and institutions in the XRP community know it, and they've been waiting for this exact setting for years. The psychological component should also not be disregarded. Lawsuits, regulatory ambiguity, and ceaseless FUD have all worked together to stifle XRP for years. That deterred many potential investors and kept prices low. That cloud has been dispelled, though, because to ETF registrations, regulatory clarification, and the support of institutions, the release of all that suppressed energy is imminent, and it will cause an explosive reaction. An asset's suppression duration is inversely proportional to the severity of its subsequent breakout. One such example is XRP. Looking at it from a cycle perspective, XRP is positioned to be the late bloomer that reaps the most reward. Ethereum is following in Bitcoin's footsteps. However, the parabolic moment for XRP has not yet occurred. When it launches, it will outpace nearly all other significant cryptocurrencies in terms of speed and aggression. For that reason, a lot of seasoned traders are advising their clients to sit tight right now. You risk missing the most significant portion of a move if you sell too soon, try to time micro moves, or give in to boredom. The best XRP price runs have typically occurred in waves that are just a few weeks long. Shortly after its 2017 launch, XRP's price soared from 20 cents to more than $3. You just made a 15x move. Once again, XRP can be quickly priced into the double digits at even a fraction of that multiple, which starts at $3. This run could make the last one appear modest when set against the institutional backdrop. The cautious midterm objective, according to analysts, is $8, while $20 is the reasonable top for this cycle. There are those who think it might go much higher if money floods in like it did for Bitcoin in 2021. In terms of market capitalization, consider the implications. If XRP were to reach $20, its valuation would be close to $1 trillion. At that level, XRP becomes more than simply a speculative asset. It becomes an integral part of the international monetary system. Furthermore, the basics back it up. Everything you need is present: a use case, an adoption rate, and an institutional framework. The price motion is the only thing that is lacking at the moment. At this very moment, that is taking place. Feelings, meanwhile, remain unnoticed. At this time, XRP has not made it into the mainstream media. It's not something that the CNBC hosts bring up on a daily basis. What this means is that the hype cycle is still in its early stages. The price of XRP will have risen significantly by the time it makes it into the main page of every financial news site. The positioning phase is currently underway. The manic phase follows. Those that take a stand during times of relative calm usually come out on top when the market goes wild. There is also the matter of competition to think about. Even though Bitcoin and Ethereum are all everyone can talk about, XRP is the only cryptocurrency that can truly address the issue of international payments. Virtual gold, that is Bitcoin. Worldwide, Ethereum serves as a computer. When it comes to international money transfers, XRP is the link. The stakes in such use case are in the trillions. Among the several blockchain rails being adopted by institutions, XRP stands out as the most established, liquid, and efficient alternative for settlement. I'm not exaggerating. It has a real-world benefit that other assets can't match. Even regulators recognize this benefit. What was originally feared to be Ripple's demise due to the SEC litigation is now turning out to be a fortunate turn of events. After completing it and coming out on top, XRP has a legal basis, something that many other assets lack. Institutions can engage with confidence, knowing that they will not face retroactive enforcement. Surprisingly, XRP has actually been strengthened by the litigation that was meant to derail it. This cycle appears to be quite favorable for that reason and others like it. After this, what's the next step? In the near run, the goals for the breakout are obvious: $4.40, $5, and finally $8. The process of price discovery begins once those levels have fallen. $12, $15, or even $20 factor in. Unpredictability is a part of the journey. You can count on it. The broader view, however, is quite clear. This is an iconic arrangement. All the propellants are in harmony. The money is coming in. Furthermore, progress is being made. The analysts constantly bringing it up because of this. Hold on tight, XRP holders. Do not become sidetracked at this moment. Now is not the moment to question. To see the setup for what it is, you must do it now. A chance for the cycle. Finally, this is what I want to stress. There is always one asset that characterizes a cycle. It was Bitcoin surpassing $20,000 in 2017. The year 2021 was all about Ethereum and the explosion of DeFi. By 2025, all signs indicate that XRP will have become that pivotal tale. With its impressive track record of ETF approvals, breakout charts, institutional demand, and global liquidity background, XRP is poised to be the star of this bull run. Those who clung to their seats during the rumble will be the ones to recount the event's personal accounts in the annals of history. Keep your eyes peeled since this is taking place right now. The Ultimate Millionaire Investor Guide, Find 100 Times Stocks, is pinned below this remark for anyone who desire more information on how to position yourself for 100 times possibilities. You can find a wealth of information there that will help you become a better player.